Wam, called Loyam La Yahal Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rahak Wadashta, one of the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well. Salutations, peace, blessings to the elect, pushing that word across the four corners of earth. Continue to do so. All right. Even during times now where we have to show great vigilance, show great temperance, all right, and show great discipline. But without further ado, had a little something for you. And this just goes to show you the times that we're in. You know, we know what time it is. Brother's been diligent, you've been watching. But in these different parts of these people in the world, they're feeling it. Right? That our temptation coming closer and pockets is getting thin. All right, check this out. This is in the River North, which is a very affluent part of Chicago, one of the most affluent parts. They actually just opened the Aldi's up in River North. You know, this is the kind of zone for Whole Foods, all of these little private restaurants and ritzy spots. This is an Aldi's. And this is how much is hidden in people's pockets. Check this out.
Indicator is Aldi opening up a brand new store in one of the highest income neighborhoods in Chicago.
Exactly.
I think that's the line to get in. And
look at these buildings, man. Look at these condos. And all these is like they got some decent stuff, but it's mostly off-brand stuff. I don't really rock with Aldi's because they put a lot of chemicals in their stuff. You know, you really want to do a bunch of raw foods, but some things from Aldi's are decent. They got, if you like cheese, they got some decent priced cheese. And, their meats, usually pretty good too. But look at this line, man. The line, what's she gonna say it?
I need you to realize is the entrance is on the other corner of the building.
It's on the other corner of the building. They're treating this like a grand, like the new Xbox came out. This is Aldi's. That crazy shit where people stay overnight and then look at this for Aldi's. So you can save $10 to $20 on groceries. It's huge. It's not even that big. It's literally like 5 rows of shit. So people can save, you save some money, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. Like I said, though, a lot of this stuff is laced with chemicals. It'd be, some of them foods that you look in the back and there's 50 ingredients. You're like, nah, we ain't even gonna do this one today. All right, you got to make that call too, man. Everything, that's cheap, because you get what you pay for. But then you might have a budget, but then you find a spot. Okay, they got this at this spot. They got this that's cheap at this spot. Like Trader Joe's, they'll have some decent stuff for some decent prices. All right, but this is definitely the time of temperance. This is the time to watch, how you budget. The scriptures say what? Right, everything that goes in and out. They got different apps on your phone. You could track your spending. You could track all that. Or if you want to do it old school, write it down. Do it that way. Balance a checkbook. All right, but this just shows you the times that we're in. Not a new luxury store, not the new, whatever tech store or whatever the new gimmick is, and Aldi's. They only got the wine on the rack yet because the wine didn't come in yet.
These aisles are.
She could.
It's officially open.
Even the scissors
Y'all
are
need
cheap.
to go check it out. It is huge. Oh my.
And this is Revelation 6:5. It say, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Right? A measure of wheat for a penny. Let's see. And you look up a measure. Let's see. A draw measure, or as much as would support a man of moderate appetite for a day. So you can make some bread with that. Right? Measures of barley. Barley you can make, you can basically make bread with that too, I believe. You look at penny though, it's a denarius containing 10. A Roman silver coin. And that was one of the indicators too that the Roman Empire was falling, because the soldiers were getting paid silver, and then they started to shave that. They started to add metals into that, and then I forget if they jumped straight to it or they went down to bronze or whatever. But eventually they start to pay them in salt, which salt has value. Which that's where salary is from. Salt has value, but it ain't currency. It ain't money. Right? It took its name from being equal to 10 asses. After 217 BC, it was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that the denarius was then an ordinary pay for a day's wage, right? Day's wages. So a penny. And it just goes to show you how weak this place is, because a penny there's no real metals in it. All right, quick article. Because pennies are no longer minted starting November the 12th, Wednesday. Some businesses are asking cash voluntary customers to voluntarily round up donations to avoid needing pennies to make change and to stay compliant with state and local laws. And what this is going to do too, when you don't have pennies to round out, somebody needs it, they give you that extra nickel or dime, then people are going to complain. Oh. And when you look up this phrase, nickel and diming, it says the term nickel and diming originates from 1940s and is rooted in the literal value of the coins. The phrase refers to the act of charging small, insignificant amounts of money, nickels and dimes, to increase a final price, often through numerous fees and penalties. The term gained prominence from 5 and dime stores, which sold items priced at 5 or 10 cents, representing the small sums of money involved. Right. And that's basically what happens with these different taxes, man. They nickel and diming you. This for the bag tax, this is for the water tax, this is for this tax. Tax the shit out of you, and then the whole time your currency is losing value. Yep. So everything's going up. It says, like I said, people are going to complain, hey, they don't have change. They don't give me the right change. I gave them this much, and then they don't have 4 pennies, or they don't have this many pennies, so they getting over. So if they're doing that to, a million customers a year, then that's, X amount of, well, you know what? We're going to need to go ahead and switch over to digital then, and we're just going to go ahead and do digital. It says rounding down will become costly for businesses they already started. Over time, Sheridan said, retailers have told congressional leaders a federal law is needed because at least 10 states have laws prohibiting rounding transactions to the nearest nickel. Yeah, how you going to round my shit up? All right, you better have exact change, or you got to pay digital. Right, man, it ain't gonna be no. that little penny that you used to throw on the ground, and people are gonna be, oh look, it's a penny. Yeah, because it says Trump ordered the Treasury Department back in February to stop minting pennies. His argument that pennies cost more to mint than they are worth echoed a January 2025 recommendation from Elon Musk, from Doge, to put an end to the penny because producing 4.5 billion pennies in 2023 cost taxpayers more than $179 million. It says the U.S. Mint said that each penny costs $3.69 to make. You see, and that's how you know this is a false balance. The balance, the value, it's a false balance, man. It's a false balance. It's supposed to be a certain amount of metal. All right, Esau, man, he's the devil. All right, that was one of the things why these different nations got mad at the little hats, because they used to actually shave the coins. They'll take the coin. That's why they're on the quarters and certain coins, they have notches on them. Oh, you always wondered that. Why does this have notches? Because they actually used to take the coins and they would shave them. You shave, let's say you had 1,000 quarters. Over time, you can squeeze another quarter out. Now let's say you got silver and gold. And the silver and gold is supposed to be a certain weight for each coin that's minted, right? That's the whole thing of a mint. It's like a singlet. It's that mark that says, hey, this comes from our official minting press. We officially weighed this. This is this official amount. If you fuck with it, then that's illegal. Right? We can fine your ass. So what the little hats used to do, they actually used to shave silver and gold, shave the coins, and so it was 0.1 off, 0.2. All right, kind of falsifying the balance, changing it very slightly, and then over the course of time of doing that, like I said, you could squeeze an extra, get it melted down, and squeeze an extra coin out of all them coins. Diabolical, diabolical. All right, now they're talking about with nickels. They're saying that coin's days should be maybe numbered. Each nickel costs more than 13 cents to produce, and the nickel's not even like the old nickels, which was actually made with silver. It's made with a bunch of junk metal. It costs to round to the nearest dime is closer to, it said, the cost to consumers to rounding transactions to the nearest nickel is estimated to be around $6 million. The cost to round to the nearest dime is closer to $56 million. That's how you know it's shit behind the scenes. Right, that's how you know. He's still running those plays. Therefore, the cost-benefit analysis for taxpayers is not nearly as clear for nickels as pennies. Right, then it references the Price Rounding Act of 1989. So these things, a lot of these ideas have been floating around. A lot of stuff they come up with, and then they'll actually sit down in think tanks and they'll actually go over the numbers. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, what could happen? And they try to predict it and try to control the chaos. But this whole thing, you guys are about to lose it. Right, you guys are about to get a little control, but you're about to lose the reins of this horse. 1943 copper Lincoln wheat pennies. Talks about them when they use zinc to save copper. And a penny's supposed to be copper. All right, going back to that Revelation 6 and 5, we're definitely in a time of hyperinflation. Let's see. Yeah, this looks like it was actually copper. Because the penny's supposed to, get wet and stuff. It's supposed to turn green. The copper's supposed to turn it green. Now they turn black. Let's see, 1859. You got a penny from 1859. Any value. Look at these. Some of these pennies are worth a lot of money. No mint mark penny. Some of those $1,700 for a penny. Yeah, you gotta watch out for some of these nicer pennies. And this is old money that we said when it was back when it was actually made or something. The wheat penny. Shit. 168 there. They put in that. I don't know. Now you jump ahead. 2009. Yeah, this shit ain't worth shit. This shit ain't worth shit. Yeah, penny. In the English, yeah, they use them for silver coins. Like you look up Luke 21:2, and he saw also a certain poor widow casting in thither 2 mites. Look up a mite. It's a small brass coin, equivalent to the 1/8 part of an as, worth about 1/5 of a cent. Shit. Small coin. And see that mite. That mite is probably worth more than the penny's worth now. All right. Because even, certain things, like you can melt down, you got copper, you can actually melt the pennies down. If it's copper, you can melt it down, you can make stuff. You could take it to the scrap yard or take it to a smith or something. It tells you, in the days of Elijah, talks about a donkey's head. People was buying dove's dung. Yeah, so we're in those times, man. But the Lord got us. All right, the Lord got us. And I just think about and read about what happened in the wilderness with shit. We didn't have shit. We had nothing. All right, Psalm 78. And 14, the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. He clave the rocks in the wilderness and gave them drink as out of the great depths. All right, rocks out of the, man. The Lord he gave them drink as out of the great depths. The Lord could bring water out of a rock. He brought streams also out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust. Yea, they spake against the Most High. They said, can the Most High furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Because they trusted not in the Most High and trusted not in his salvation, though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven, and he had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. So they actually ate heavenly food and still didn't have faith. All right? And what's going to happen now? These people are going to starve. Let's see if you really believe in what you say you believe in. Let's see. All right, you really going to call upon the Creator, or if you're going to go to Esau for help, which we already know what they're about to do. Man that eats angels' food, he sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as the dust, and feather fowls like as the sand of the sea. And he let it fall in the midst of their camp round about their habitations, so that they eat and were well filled, and he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from their lusts, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of the Lord came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and believed not for his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble. While he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and inquired early after the Most High. And when they remembered that the Most High was their rock and the high power their Redeemer, nevertheless they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues. For their heart was not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. See, and that's a lot of our people. They said they're gonna seek me early when tribulation comes. See, Jake is slick. They'll, play this game, I don't believe, and then when shit happens, oh, I believe the whole time, and all these people pop up. Right, but the whole time they're lying and trying bullshit. All right, but the Lord knows the hearts of men, man. It said his eyes behold all. And that's something I think about. Yeah, you have spies, agents, and false brethren in Israel. But at the end of the day, Yahweh Shema Shai sees you. He sees everything. He sees your thoughts. All right, even a brother who goes off and, maybe fucking up, but he is of the elect. The Lord just got to deal with him. Scripture say, judge no man's servant. He sees everything, right? He sees sincerity. He sees, that brother who might not get all the accolades or whatever, who goes out the way. The Lord sees all. Right? I just think of that, man. Everything is in this grand plan. It said promotion cometh not from the east or the west, but from him. So, let us continue to endure in the faith, understand the times that we're in. All right, now is not the time to be splurging. Now is not the time to be trying to even get into certain situations which are going to be costly, because things are thinning out. All right, and just keep it simple, man. Keep a job, go to work, do your job, handle your business. All right, serve the Lord. Call Loyum Lay How by Shema Washai by Shema Kagadash.